Hey, this is the Akai Force, and the Force gets my seal of approval. What's up, Facebook? This is my basic guide to using the Akai Force with a modular synth. This is pretty much an impromptu video. Now, it looks a little bit grainy from where I'm viewing this. Hopefully it's not too bad, and also hopefully me talking through it will describe what's going on if you can't see anything that clearly. So I do apologise if it's not that clear visually. So we've got the Force here, and you can see that I've got this Sound Machines Modular 114. This is a fully integrated modular synth. It was the first modular synth that I bought, and the reason why I bought it was it saved me going out and buying all the separate modules. It's a fantastic synth for anyone who's just getting started with modular synthesis. And as you can see, well, hopefully you can see that it's powered up via USB, and it's actually running off the Force itself. So if I disconnect that at the back, we've lost the power now. So that's really handy that you've got these USB ports. Disconnected that now, and now I've lost it. Where is it? There you go. And yeah, the Force is running this modular synth in terms of power. So that's really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up for anyone that doesn't know how to connect a modular synth if you're just getting started with this kind of stuff. And we're going to run the output of this into a single input because, of course, this is a mono synth. So we only need one channel to record this. And I'm going to use an audio track. So, first of all, I'm going to delete the default plugin track that's created for us. So I'm going to press and hold delete and press that. I'm going to retain the audio track because I'm going to need that to record the modular into. We also need to create a CV track to actually trigger the modular. So first of all, I'm going to take two leads out of two of the CV ports in the back of the Akai Force, so we can control both the triggering and the pitch of the modular synth. So I've got these extremely long 1/8" jack cables here, so I don't obscure anything on the screen. If anyone's watching this and they want to put a comment and let me know whether the audio of my voice isn't too loud or clipping. It might be a little bit quiet actually, but as long as you can hear me, should be good to go. So what I'm going to do is first of all plug this in to the rear of the Force into CV port 1, and let's just double tap on the CV track, and this is where we can configure the behaviour of the CV port and the gate port, or the actual destination for those. So the CV port is currently set to 1. That will control the pitch. So I'm going to connect this cable to this section. This is my oscillator number 1 on this Eurorack synth, or should I say modular synth. I'm going to connect that to the volts per octave connection to control the pitch of this oscillator. So I'm going to take a second 1/8" jack. Hopefully I said 1/8" first of all. I'm thinking I might have said 1/4". Obviously it's an 1/8". And I'm going to put that into the second port. The pleasure of doing live videos. It's lucky I'm not working with any animals or children today. This is going to control our gate, or the triggering. So what I want to do is take that out of port number 2, and in here it's set to 2. Now you can freely configure these, but I'm just going to use them as their default settings. This is going to be plugged in to the envelope so we can shape the sound, and then I'm going to run a cable out of the output of that envelope into the voltage controlled amplifier so we can trigger the sound. So we're going to take a square wave. This oscillator's got a number of waveforms that you can output from it. I'm going to plug that into this section, which is a mixer. It's got 3 inputs and 1 output. So I'm going to plug that into there, and you can see you've got 3 knobs to control the individual volumes, but we're just going to use the first one. I'm going to take the output of that mixer, and that is going to be plugged into the input of the VCA, the audio input. And where's my other cables? There they are. Now, I'm going to take the output of the VCA and I'm going to plug it into the main input for the main output, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to take the output of this and plug it into the input of the force. So for that, I have got a very long cable again. So let's go out of the main output. And on the other end of that, I've got an adapter. Now this is a TRS adapter. You don't necessarily need that to be a TRS, but it probably is less susceptible to noise. But it shouldn't be a problem either way. Let's plug that into input number 1 at the back of the force. So now we should be getting closer to getting some sound. So just to reiterate, we've got CV and gate. So CV's controlling the pitch of this oscillator. The gate is going into the envelope. Now the last thing that we need to do is run a cable from the output of the envelope to trigger the VCA. So I did have, oh there you go, there's another cable. So let's do that. Let's take the output of the envelope so we can trigger the VCA. So we put that into the CV input of the VCA. So that's all set up. We can close that window on the force, and it seems that my connection's improved and the video's a lot clearer now, which is great. So we've set up a really basic, I say we, I've done all the work. What are you doing? Sitting there watching me. I've set up a basic patch on this modular, connected the audio, connected the triggering and the pitch control of this synth, and we should be good to go. So let's go to notes mode. Now I can't hear anything, and there's a reason for that. We need to go to the audio track and go to the mixer and go to the inserts and IO. And on the inserts and IO section on this channel strip, you've got the input. So we first of all need to double tap that and select input 1. You can actually just tap it once and use the data wheel to configure that. And I've switched on the monitor, so you can have it in auto mode, off, or just on. The nice thing about this is that when the monitor is on, you're just hearing the sound of this synth, and when you've actually recorded some material onto the audio track, you can actually mute that. It's quite, I'll show you as we get further into the video. So now if I'm in notes mode, need to be on the CV track, we should be able to hear, there you go, the synth. It's probably a bit loud. Let me just check my levels. I'm going to turn that down a little bit, so my voice should be a bit louder. Hello Abagash, I hope I've pronounced that. The last 3 letters of your first name is the same 3 letters of my first name. My name's Ash. So hello Abagash Longstalk, that's an amazing name. Would you do me a favour, my friend, and tell me whether the sound of my voice and the synth all sounds good? That would be really handy to know, seeing as you're the only person that's tuned in at the moment. If it's all good, then I shall continue. I'm going to continue anyway. So we've got the synth all working now. So if I press and hold note on the CV track, and we can configure the notes mode. So I'm going to choose to net. So that's quite a nice way to build up a simple little thank you mate. I very much appreciate that feedback. So my levels are all good. So yeah, let's go to the matrix. Now with audio tracks, unless I'm mistaken, if I create a clip on an audio track and record it into it, if I create a clip on the audio track, I can't record into it. So when you create a clip on an audio track, you can load a sample into that audio track. But to record to an audio track, you just have to leave it blank, tap on the space, whether that's on the screen or actually from the launch window. And as long as you've got the ARM record set, you can start recording into that clip. You can determine the amount of time by going to fixed length recording, making sure that that is checked, and then you can change the actual length, the bar length of how long you want to record. I've got that set to 32 bars at the moment. We're going to do that in a minute. First of all, I need to create a clip for the CV track so we can get some note data in there. So I'm going to just turn that down to 2 bars and just create a really simple 2-bar clip. Let's just go back to the matrix. I prefer to be in that view. And if we press record arm and go back to notes mode, now I can just record a simple melody into the CV clip here. So it sounds pretty static at the moment. I'm going to have a play about with this envelope now because I can shape this a bit better. What I might do is have it really short and snappy, but utilise effects on the audio track. Obviously we can hear this modular because I've got the monitor set on the audio track. So let's go to the audio track and let's just play it back. So what you heard there, I actually accidentally knocked the filter because the resonance is up fully maximum there. So let's not worry about that. Let's adjust the amplitude envelope. Now you could probably hear it sounds a bit blippy, and that's because I've got it in looping mode, or for this actual envelope. So that's quite nice. Let's leave it at that. Now let's go back to the mixer and add a nice delay effect. So this is what I really like about the Force and the MPCX, is that you can live monitor your incoming audio and add an effect to that and record it. So let's add an air delay. It's one of my favourite delays. There you go. And that immediately breathes tons of life into an otherwise, you know, relatively basic or static patch. So let's also, in fact, I'm going to delete that and I'm going to rearrange the order of these effects. I'm going to actually put a filter as my first effect, and then I'm going to put a delay on top of that. So anything that I filter can also be delayed. And of course, if we press and hold knobs, press screen, then we get access to all the parameters on our knobs. And there you go. So we've built a patch, added some effects to the audio input. We've got the monitor on so we can hear our modular. I'm not going to do any... Excuse me, I just had to clear my throat again. I'm not going to do any complex patching on this. I've used this synth specifically because it's very easy to get a basic patch, and any complexities in the sound are going to come from the effects in the Force. So let's go back to the matrix and let's just stop this. Let's just press and hold shift and press record and make sure I've got this fixed pattern length here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is record 32 bars of this little sequence, and whilst we go, I'm going to automate the effects that I've got loaded onto this audio track. So I'm going to start with the filter, and for the first 16 bars, I'm going to gradually open up this low pass filter. So we should be able to, if we're in launch mode, literally just tap on this clip slot here, and we'll get a count in, and then we can start mucking about with the filter and record this into an audio track. So there you go, we've got 32 bars, and because I was recording and adjusting the parameter of this filter, if you press and hold shift and press record, you can choose to write automation when recording. When you record automation, if you don't already know this, you don't necessarily have to arm the track. You just have to press record there, and you can record automation separately from any recording that's performed by this button. So now let's just take a look at the mixer. Let's play back, and we should just be able to hear the audio track, if I'm not mistaken. Let's actually test that by muting the clip track, or the CV track, sorry. So what we can hear now, let's also take the monitor off. So we've muted that and taken the monitor off, so we're definitely not hearing the clip, we are hearing the audio track now. So it's successfully recorded the audio into this audio track. And obviously if we press clip, we can view that. It's quite low. Again, if you don't already know this, if you're new to this kind of format, this is common with the MPC audio tracks. You can just click on it with your arrow to select the entire clip, press on level, and in real time you can increase the volume. So what I'm going to do is just bring the actual volume of the track down quite a lot, go back to the clip, and then I don't know why, it just feels better to actually boost the clip volume for some reason. I just prefer to work that way. And obviously you get a lot more feedback from seeing a larger waveform. So I've actually maxed that out at plus 24 decibels. That's fine, that's loud enough. So another nice thing that we can do is press and hold shift, choose the time correction, change that to bars, the time divisions, press do it, get the scissors, and let's just chop in to this clip now, or this audio clip, and create a load of 1 bar regions. And then just randomly I'm going to select, not completely randomly, let's actually chop that just before bar 17. So, you know, at logical places or even random places, we can just reverse some of these and you get some nice effects because there's a delay on there. Let's reverse this one. So I'm just selecting these regions, pressing reverse, and that will reverse these, which gives quite a nice effect. I'm going to choose this one here to be 2 bars, and that should do. So we've got a number of regions that are now reversed. So that should make this a little bit more interesting. So let's play that back. So that was quite nice. It led into that next section at bar 9. So that's pretty much it for setting up the modular side, recording it into an audio track. Let's just embellish, is that the word? All you people out there that want to hear some drums alongside this. So we've got a drum program or a drum track created now. Let's go to load. This is one of the advantages over the MPC, that you've got the quick search menu here and you can choose a category for the type of sound that you want. So let's get a kick drum, obvious place to start. So I'm just going to go to notes mode, choose a blank pad. That's really loud, the monitor, let me turn it down. So that's a really nice short basic kick, that's fine. I'm not going to be obvious and choose a snare. I'm going to go to the quick search again and choose just a random percussive sound. So that'll do. Let's get something a bit more high frequency. It's a little stick sound there. And that's fine. Maybe a tiny little short snare. Now, let's also just get a high frequency sound, that will do, and let's turn that into something like a hi-hat. So if we press and hold shift and press clip, now we can enter the track editor. There's another way to do that if you didn't already know, and I've forgotten what it is. I think it's shift and then you press one of the track buttons. Let me just test that. No, that's the quantize. I've forgotten which one. Oh, it's edit down here. It's edit and then one of the track buttons, and that's another way to enter the track editor. Right, so let's turn down the volume of the drum program. Now this sounds a bit too loud for me, so let's again go back to the program editor. Let's put a high pass filter on that. Let's choose the attack, hold, decay, sustain envelope for that sound. Make this nice and short and glitchy. Let's adjust that. That sounds a bit too obvious. That can act as a bass sound. Let's just adjust the endpoint of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an odd bar length so we could get some kind of polyrhythms with this. So if I create a clip for this drum track or drum program, and let's choose 3 bars. So the modular synth that we recorded is on a 4/4 time signature. Let's so it's not time signature, sorry, it's 3 bars is going to give us some kind of polyrhythmic action going with the drums. So let's go back to the matrix, and we didn't create the clip, sorry. Again, I say we, I'm doing all the work. What are you doing there? Sitting with a cup of coffee with your feet up watching me do all the work? Never mind, I'm fine with that, I'm a workaholic. So what I'm going to do is record this. Now I must remember that I put my quantization or time correction into bars so we could chop up the audio track. So I'm going to put that back to 16th notes. Otherwise we're just going to get a really odd, well, a rubbish rhythm, and it's not going to replicate or record what I'm placing in. Anyway, so let's make sure that we, yeah, I'm going to keep that muted. So let's make sure we're on that track, record arm. I'm not going to press, yeah, I'm going to press that. And yeah, let's start recording. So now we've got 3 bars of our drum track, and that's going to start sort of falling back over itself and create some kind of oddness, because most of us are used to yeah, a sort of a standard kind of time signature without some polyrhythms occurring. So this is going to sort of make things a bit more evolving and interesting. So I'm just going to play that back as it is now. And I'm just going to overdub some note repeats to make this clip a bit more interesting. We can integrate this with the XY effects. So there you go. I'm not going to do much more on this, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was just a little demonstration of how to integrate a modular synth with the Akai Force. It works really well, particularly with something like this, which can run off USB power, and it's also being powered by the Force itself. So if you was to take a system like this out live, you'd be all good to go. It's just a matter of patching it up and getting a bit more familiar with how to patch your modular. But Force is great in this regard, as well as the MPCX. Obviously you've got more ports on the MPCX, but I'm seriously considering investing in this. Akai have loaned this to me to test and obviously make some decent content to show its features off, which I'm more than happy to do because it means that I don't actually have to buy one of these for the meanwhile. But as soon as they start knocking on my door to ask for the machine back, I'm going to be a bit kind of reluctant to give it back. So I might try and do an Obi-Wan Kenobi mind trick on them. Say, you do not need, this is not the droid you are looking for, okay? Leave it with me. I will look after the machine for a very long time in a galaxy far, far away. So hopefully, yeah, I can do a Jedi mind trick and I get to retain the Force. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. I will probably try and download this from Facebook. I think you can do that. If I can't, that would be a shame, but I may try and put this up on YouTube as well. Have a good weekend. This is Tubedigga, and I'm out. Oh, before I go, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Tubedigga page on Facebook, that would be amazing. I also accept donations if you want to help me out that way. PayPal, tubedigga@gmail.com. If you want private lessons as well, please contact me at tubedigga@gmail.com. If not, no worries. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching what I do, and for all the comments that I've got on my most recent videos. There's been some really nice comments and I thoroughly appreciate the support. Big up yourself, guys. Have a lovely weekend and I will see you on the next one. This is Tubedigga. I see you later. Bye.